Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Spincast. Today, we're diving back into the great world of collegiate esports. Joining me is Zach Lewis. He is the esports coach at Limestone University. So without further ado, Zach, go ahead, introduce yourself. Tell me a little bit about your background in esports and kind of how that took you down your path to your current position as a coach at a university.
Hi, so I'm Zach Lewis, the head esports coach over at Limestone University. This is my first collegiate esports coaching job. I've never really worked for a university doing this this work in esports. Before this, a lot of my background came from the amateur semi-professional scene. So we came really close a couple different times, and it was great experiences. And I did that for about 3 years. And of course, it was just off and on, and there was lots of turbulence with that. But I was able to come up with a good enough track record of success that I was able to put that on a resume and use it to advance my career in esports. So that's how I got here today, and I'm loving every bit of it. Yeah.
Awesome. Sounds great. Sounds great. Diving into Limestone a little more deeply. Tell me what games you compete in, what competitions you take part in, kind of that overall snapshot of the program.
So Limestone Esports is brand new. We've only been in operation for about a semester. We've gone through our first inaugural semester this past fall, and we're looking forward to moving into our second one this spring. But alongside with starting a new program like this, we've come across a lot of challenges of just introducing esports into a school that's never had anything like this before.
Sure.
So it's been a real interesting adventure. Right now, we're offering League of Legends, Valorant, and Rocket League scholarships. Currently speaking, we only have a Valorant team competing. This semester, I am introducing a Rocket League team as well, and those guys will be competing off of scholarship just because they're showing up a semester late. And I think they're more just wanting to get the feel of of esports and see what it's all about before they really commit themselves to it. So looking forward to the next academic year, we'll most likely, we will have a Valorant team, a Rocket League team, and I have my fingers crossed for a League of Legends team. And we offer scholarships for varsity and junior varsity positions in all of those teams. So that's pretty much where we're at with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Sounds great. Awesome to hear that you have scholarships for all of those rosters. Usually, scholarships are one roster here, one roster there. Not for all of the ones that you offer. That's pretty awesome. So I can definitely see, kids starting to see that and catch on, still new, still growing, still getting the word out. So I'm sure that you'll see that success soon enough and fill those rosters out and be able to compete in more and bigger things.
Sure.
So, as a newer program, talk to me about what that future vision looks like, right? Are there any certain milestones you want to hit over, this calendar year, looking into your second and third semester? Any competitions you have your eyes on for potentially competing and winning, and so on and so forth?
I mean, we've got a handful, big ones and small ones. I have goals that we're trying to achieve. If we're kind of looking for the short term and smaller goals, I know that our Valorant team, we've been recently competing in a league called Conference 1, and we get to play against a lot of big schools through this conference. And it's kind of amazing that little old Limestone University gets to play against these massive schools through esports. It's an amazing thing in the first place. But we really got our mindset on coming back. We lost a lot of games to a lot of teams this past semester. We want to come back and take revenge this next one on this next time around. So I know that at least my team and me personally have goals this upcoming semester, to really explode in the competition and try to take a couple games off of the people that probably take us for granted at this point. And I guess in the long term, when I was first building this program, I was actually hired to build this program, so I don't just coach. I also do all the administrative work. We were anticipating 28 students, or up to 28 students. and I would like to see us reach that mile marker where we have full rosters filled out for League of Legends, or two rosters for League of Legends, Valorant, and Rocket League, and that would come out to 28 students,
Yeah.
or 26 rather. Um, but if we can get to that mile marker, I would be very happy, and I'd be very busy.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I look forward to that.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's a great goal. And, that's kind of the common theme with a lot of collegiate coaches of like, hey, we want to get all these full rosters, but that's just like a lot of work, right? Because, you look at traditional sports, right? There's not one coach for football, basketball, and baseball, right? There's
Hmm.
multiple coaches for all of those sports. In esports, it's like, hey, there's one coach and here's 5 games. We'll get all these rosters. And it's like, wow, that's a lot.
Yes, yes, it is a
So
lot.
definitely see and feel that pain and heard about it. But it's awesome that that's your goal. And super awesome to see that growth over this year. Looking at your Valorant team, as that's the team you have right now for this past fall season. Take me through what a typical practice day looks like, right? Because I get a lot of questions from the high school kids of, hey, what is esports in high or in college look like? What does my day to day look like? What does practice look like? So take me through kind of that general process for your program.
Yeah, sure. So, generally speaking, for my students, a lot of them will have classes in the mornings. They'll have classes starting around 9, and they'll go until around noon or 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then frequently they'll have maybe another club activity, or they'll be involved in another sport, which will have practices or meetings, or maybe they'll do, if they're not involved with those things, they'll study in the afternoon. And then frequently we'll have esports practice starting around 5:30 and going until 8. Reason being, a lot of our competitions will start actually around 8 or 9, or 7 to 9 p.m. That's generally speaking when collegiate esports tournament times are. So we like to practice around the same time we compete. We compete around 5:30 to 8 most days, uh, 5 days a week, 4 or 5 days a week, depending on the team, depending on team player schedules. And you'll have a competition, generally speaking, once a week or once every 2 weeks. That'll extend that practice time from 5:30 until around 10 p.m. Just because you have to play at the end of it. And of course, practices look very different practice to
Mm-hmm.
practice. Sometimes we just have more fun with the practices. If the guys come in and they're like down and out after a big like exam week or something,
Mm-hmm.
of course I'm going to take it easier on them, and we might just have like a 20 kill challenge or something with Valor. I'll just say, okay, I don't care what you do, just go out there, have fun, get as many kills as you can, and compete against each other, see who can get the most.
Yeah.
And of course, the guy it lightens the mood in the room. Everybody has a good time with it, and then of course it also makes them work on their aggression, because they're making horrible plays that they never would in a ranked game, just trying to get those kills. So, and other practices, of course, is harder, and other practices we do VOD review. But
Mm-hmm.
it just really depends on where we are as a team, what we feel we need to prioritize, and that's judgments I make before practices. So.
Awesome. Yeah, I like to see that holistic approach, right? That's kind of something I always look for in, the college programs is having that, all encompassing approach of like not just playing, right? Having that VOD review, having the analytics, having that mixture, right? Of having lighthearted practices, right? Because it's the same thing with any kind of competition. I remember when I played football in high school, like there'd be days where we just kind of goof around, have fun, work out, be, more physically taxing, but not too structured, right? And then there's also
Sure.
days where it's just hyper structured, right? And then same thing when I played esports in college. There was days where we would practice very analytically and kind of go step by step. Hey, like where did we go wrong? Where was our movements or strat just off just a little bit? And then there were days where we just kind of hopped on and built team chemistry almost, right? And didn't really care too much about the strats those days. So
Sure.
awesome to see. Before we run out of time here, I have two more questions for you.
Okay.
In your experience in collegiate esports, looking towards future growth, have you experienced anything that might be missing, or is something that you think could be created to really kind of bring up the popularity, right? Because you don't see a Trevor Lawrence type star in collegiate esports quite yet, where it's plastered all over ESPN or something like that. It hasn't quite reached that mainstream media for collegiate esports. So in your mind, what steps as an industry could we take to really kind of get closer to that mark over the next couple of years?
So I think one of the biggest things that, so in esports, the reason you see a lot of industry growth is going to be in the professional scene.
Mm-hmm.
You're mentioning a lot of, you don't have a lot of viewership in the collegiate scene, and the reason being, there's a very large skill difference, generally speaking, from the professionals and a collegiate team. The professionals, of course, get paid to play. They're actually comprised of teams of players at a collegiate age. So they're taking players directly from collegiate teams and putting them onto professional teams, or like of collegiate age and putting them onto professional teams as instead of them going to college and playing there. Um, and that's kind of a challenge of the industry where they both the professional and the collegiate scene same share the same age group and the same player base. And the only real way that the collegiate scene is really ever going to get more viewership, because the thing about esports is nobody wants to watch a game that they think they could play better. And they want to be able to watch a game and say, wow, these guys are really cool. They're really good. I wish I could do that. I want to learn something. And that's why people watch professional esports all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So for collegiate esports to really catch up, uh, it's going to take it's going to take a lot of time just for the schools to find their center, to level up their coaching, level up their players. The players are going to have to take the game a lot more seriously. The schools are going to have to take the games a lot more seriously. Put a lot more money into the programs themselves,
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that students that really want to go to school, or like if they're bouncing, do I want to go to college or do I want to play professionally, actually have good enough scholarships at the schools to be able to merit going to college,
Mm-hmm.
instead of just having to go professional
Mm-hmm.
for financial reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So I think over time the industry will catch up and the collegiate scene will be able to drive some numbers, but right now it's just not at that. It's not at that place.
Yeah, I think time's the answer there, and we're starting to see the effect snowball where you see more scholarships and more scholarships. Right, I think we went from about 19, I think it was 18 or 19 million dollars nationally in 2019 to I think the projections are about 30 million. If I remember what I read correctly, for 2020. Obviously, that's not finalized yet because the year just turned, but still, it's growing very fast, but it's not quite there yet. And like you said, I think with some time and some more resources put into it, we'll see that really kind of explode over the next few years. I do hope so.
Sure.
Last question I have, more of a fun esports question. One that I typically end with is looking at all of the games that are out there right now. If you had to pick one to be kind of where soccer is, right? I always kind of translated to soccer, right? Everyone knows soccer, everyone follows soccer at some level across the entire world. What is that game in esports in 5 years? Not right now, because I think the answer right now is pretty obvious, but what could that game be in 5 years? Where do you think that's going to be? And why?
Um, I, my one of the games that I've been surprisingly shocked by has been Valorant.
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't anticipate when that game came out that I would enjoy it at all, or that because I'm not an FPS type guy.
Sure.
Um, and, and it draws a nice line between FPS and character based abilities.
Mm-hmm.
It almost combining CS:GO and Overwatch in a really cool way.
Mm-hmm.
So thinking of games that exist right now, my prediction off, I would like to see a lot more Valorant. I'd love for that scene to blow up because I think
Mm-hmm.
it's a really cool game that I've grown a great appreciation for as I've learned to coach it and learn how to play it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a lot of fun. I really wish that a new RTS game would come out that would
Yeah.
just dominate esports. RTS is not a genre that's very popular right now. It's been overlooked for a really long time, and I think that it's just a really, really cool form of gaming that esports is missing out on. And maybe one day a game developer 5 years from now will come up with a great game that is RTS style and can be played as an esport.
Sure.
That would be so much fun. I would absolutely love that.
Awesome. Yeah, maybe. Who knows, right? 5 years is a long way away. So who
Yeah.
knows what that looks like? But I love that perspective in Valorant. But unfortunately, we are out of time here. Zach, if you will, plug your program. Tell us where we can find you on any social media handles that you may have, or a website, or any kind of informational page if anyone wants to reach out to you about the university for more information, or just kind of keep up to date with y'all.
Sure. If you're interested in learning more about my program, I would advise going to esports.limestone.edu. That's got everything you need to know about the program. It's got scholarship information. It's got pictures of our players. It's got pictures of our rooms with all of our computers and consoles and everything. It's if it's a very holistic place to find information about the program. And I advise you, if you want to learn more, go there. You can also find my email address there. I am always open to receiving emails from anybody interested in the program, and I'm happy to respond and help you out.
Awesome, awesome. Everyone definitely go do that. Got a great program over there, and it's only growing by the day. So absolutely, thank you again for being on Spincast with me today, Zach. To all our viewers and listeners, thanks for sticking around the entire time. Stay healthy and stay happy out there. COVID is unfortunately still a thing. I can't wait for it to go away so we can get our lands back. But ultimately, stay plugged in.